All right, Michael. Just wanted to. This will be easier to show you a video of kind of what to do with the braid handler. Um, it is. It can be very confusing. I'll just set that out right now. So feel free to say, "Hey, Matt, can you make a video particularly about this type of editing, or what do I do in this situation?" So first off, let's go to what the output for the braid handler is, and this will show a lot of other things, a lot of other fields as well, because I'm just using an old or the lower Yakima, which I already ran through. So when you click that create cluster ID in the Brat table, what you're going to get is, all these other normal fields that you can be used to seeing, and this ismainstem, isbraided, and cluster ID. All right, so basically the two fields or columns that you're going to be editing is this ismainstem and isbraided. And to just start out, how Braden's tool works is it basically takes these sections that are right here. That's a braided reach. Okay, let's turn on the base map so you can get some context for it. But it takes these, what it basically does is it takes the possibility, you can't even see things. Well, really quick. So you can see that these sections right here is braided. It's braided right here too. So basically, the red is the main stem, and the green is all the other rivers. So red, main stem, main stem, main stem, main stem, going through, and it has all these braids coming off of it. All right. So to start out, the braid handler tool, it basically creates this cluster from the simple principle of the line diverging from a particular intersection. It diverges, has two connections right there. Diverges, 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 and then converges at some point. Okay, so this is going to be a cluster probably right here. It's going to be one cluster. Okay, this right here, it's all going to be one cluster ID possibly. Okay, so that's something going on in the background that you don't really have to edit that much. All right, there are special circumstances that you can, but overall you don't. We're trying to get away from editing as much as you can, and this is the simplest way that I could come up with to do this. All right, so you have these two other categories, ismainstem and isbraided. They're both 0 and or 1. Okay, 0 being false, 1 being true. All right, ismainstem, the characteristics that's going to come across is that it's going to keep the drainage area for that segment. Okay, so in here it's going to keep that drainage area. In the clusters, what happens is it actually takes the maximum drainage area of all these segments, because you can sometimes have your flow accumulation raster just the way that NHD is. It can kind of weave in and out through here, and so the max value might be associated with this segment, but where the main stem is, it has a much smaller value, and that needs to be corrected. And so the way that we do that is to say this is the main stem going through, and it will receive the maximum drainage area that lies within this cluster. All right. So in this situation, what I do is I'd say, yeah, this is braided, so I'm going to give you a value of 1 for braided and a main stem value of 1 for the red segment. For all the other segments, I give it a value of 0 for the ismainstem and 1 for the isbraided. Now what that does is it says, all right, we're going to assign, let's go to here, so let me scroll down. Where are you? It should have a drainage area. Hold on 1 second. All right. Okay, so it assigns values of 25 for the drainage area. Okay, this is to take into consideration as you're going through and editing this. We don't need them to be precise drainage area for this, because drainage area, it does take into account for the flow accumulation, but a large part of it is your drainage area for that threshold that you'll see later in the tool of saying if it has this large of a drainage area, then it cannot support beaver dams. Okay. 25 values we've concluded are fine for these segments. So you can see right here, these have a value of 25. All these have a value of 25. Now, this other segment right here comes off, and it's kind of a different main stem value. So what I've got for that is I've got a drainage area of 0.01, and I've kind of just gone through here and said, all right, this is the main stem right here, okay, and these coming off of it, those are braided, okay. So the main stem value, what I've done in this particular situation is, let me come over here. So it has a cluster ID of 74, and this has a cluster ID of 171. That is a case that you'd need to change your cluster ID, okay? And what I basically did was I just added, I just found what the maximum cluster ID was, added 1 to it, and went further on from there. So I just wanted to keep these drainage area values, and if I classified it as a main stem, it would have the same drainage area as this, which is false, because this is a totally different drainage area coming off of it. So you kind of just play with the is braided and is main stem in particular situations. So it's going to take some going through, and honestly what I could do is probably just send me your network, or I'll go through mine and do one section and I'll show you what I did. The end product, this is a pretty important part. The end product, Wally just wants the ismainstem classification to be just like this, okay? This is the whole network, and this is the ismainstem. He doesn't want all this other stuff being classified as the main stem. This is the main stem of the Yakima, all right? And so what I did for that was I just grab, an easy way to do this is to just grab all the segments that have ismainstem, or it has a river name, and just selected all those, stated that it was ismainstem. But you have to go through here and kind of do some editing. So yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is to get your output. I'll do a quick section of it, and you can kind of see what I've done, and I'll video what I did at the end of it. But just to give you an idea, this is what we're going to be editing: is this ismainstem, isbraided, and cluster ID. Okay. For these sections that don't have anything, you know, they're just a value, cluster ID of -1. This is just computer programming language that Braden has done, it just means that it doesn't have one. Okay, so instead of a 0, he put a -1. There's nothing else to it. And that drainage area won't be affected by the isbraided. All right, so I will assume that you'll have some questions. Honestly, give me a call. It's something that takes some practice. So I will talk to you soon.